Good morning and welcome to Trail Grazers, where we talk about good food on the trail, on the road, on your boat, camping, whatever you do to have fun and some adventure in your life. We're excited. Jim is about to make reservations for us for our first 2 winter trips, so it won't be long that we will be joining you from the road. So we're very excited about that. Our last 2 videos have been about preparing meals that we can make in our hotel room. And it's a huge money saver, which is what we're after. And I shared with you some of the strategies that we intend to do when we are in hotel rooms in order to prepare meals. After our last video, we got a couple of comments that were very important and have precipitated this video. One was from a person who often comments, and they do a lot of traveling. I really respect her. She has a lot of experience. And what she said was that twice a year they travel from their home down to the tip end of the Baja in Mexico, and it's halfway through our country and then on down into Mexico. And one of the things that they noticed on their most recent trip was that a couple of the hotels that they usually stay in are pulling out refrigerators, microwaves, and coffee makers from the hotel rooms. And when they questioned the staff about it, the staff didn't have a clue of why that was happening. And she said also in another one of the hotels that they made it clear that if anything happened, if there was any damage to any of the small appliances in the room, that they would be charged for that. And she was wondering what might have precipitated that. Well, we might know, because the second comment that we received, which I appreciated so very much, was from a woman named Sarah who called herself a hotelier, which means to me that she is proprietor, manager, owner, or something in a hotel business. And she gave her perspective on meals, preparing meals in hotel rooms. And she had some safety suggestions and also some things that we can safely do. And her comment, her post was just excellent. And so I wanted to just read it to you, and we're going to talk about a couple of things which may inform how we choose to do things as we go on the road here in just a little while. So she says, and her name is Sarah, she says, "Hi, Hotelier here. Some thoughts to share. Number 1, small appliances are fire hazards, and many hotels will not let you use them in your room. Also, cooking smells can sometimes be a problem. And I know that there are plenty of people who just totally disregard that and will do it anyway, which is probably something we should reconsider if we have done that before. Hotel rooms just aren't wired for that. They're not made for preparing food in the room unless there's a kitchenette there, and that could be an exception." She says, number 2, hot water is usually available in the lobby where coffee is served. Number 3, please don't wash your dishes in the bathroom sink. It will clog the drain. And if you think about that for just a minute, her comment really makes a lot of sense. Think about the number of rooms in any given hotel and what the plumbing is like behind the walls where you can't see it. But they're networked together, and just a little bit of food going down several different rooms' drains could cause and has caused major plumbing issues for hotels. So we need to be really careful about that. And she has a suggestion for what we can do instead when coming up in just a minute. She says many hotels have electrical systems that cannot handle instant pots, induction plates, toaster ovens, and so forth. If you must plug something in, use the GFI circuit near the sink. Don't try to microwave at the same time as you are trying to use some other appliance. I think this is really an important consideration. Now, you all know what a GFI outlet is. It's one of those outlets that has the button in between the 2 sockets that acts as a circuit breaker in case it gets overloaded. There's one in every kitchen, in every bathroom. We have one in our utility room. We have one right here by the stove. And we have one out in our trailer. And when it gets overloaded, it just shuts the circuit down, and you have to push that button to get the circuit to go again. And those rooms are not wired to handle everybody's small appliances. So we need to be very respectful as we're going into hotel rooms and not take things that are going to overload the circuitry in a hotel room. Then she says, and this is really important, do not tamper with the smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector. It's there for your safety. I hadn't even thought about that, but I do remember once in our trailer when our carbon monoxide alarm that kept going off in the middle of the night, Jim, and we finally just
unplugged it.
yeah, we did, until we could get it replaced. And that probably is not a wise choice, even though the alarm is so piercing. We tried to figure out what was causing it, and we think we found it, and then we just had to unplug it because it was going all the time. But please don't do that in a hotel room, which is not under your purview for those kinds of things anyway.
I think it's illegal to do that.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. And then she says, and boy, do I agree with this one, please do not try any of those ridiculous hotel room dining hacks where you attempt to use the iron hair dryer or coffee maker to cook your dinner. When I was doing the research for our videos that we were going to be doing on meal prep for hotel rooms, I ran into a couple of those internet sites. And I could not believe some of the things that they were suggesting. And I would never, never even think about doing. I couldn't believe that people would actually do that, such things as cooking bacon on the iron. Who would do that? And so we just should not even think about those kinds of things. You wouldn't do that at home. So don't do it where it's not your property in the first place. Then she gives us some things that we can do. She says, things I do recommend. Number 1, small propane grill that you can use away from the building and cars. Our city ordinance is a minimum of 50 feet from both. So, and that's a good suggestion. We could just have a little portable grill we keep in our car, and then we could drive to a nearby park and fix a meal. So that would work. Number 2, freeze-dried things would be super easy because of the availability of hot water in the lobby. Number 3, the plastic dish pans that are used for camping are a must for cleaning up your dishes. Just don't put food down the drain. And so this is what she suggests instead of using the bathroom sink to wash your dishes. I wouldn't want to use a bathroom sink to wash my dishes anyway. And so if you're going to do that, then you need to bring your own tub, a little wash tub. And then 4, take dish soap and a scrubber with you. Please don't use the hotel towels. This happens often and it is really, really frustrating. So bring your own dish towels. And then number 5, crock pots do not pull a ton of power, and you can get liners that make cleanup a breeze. Don't leave it unattended and you probably won't have a problem. And so crock pots are okay. If you're there for a couple of days of sightseeing, it may be difficult to not leave it unattended, but perhaps you could cook it overnight and then just warm it up later in the day, so you actually do not leave it unattended while you are out of the room. As I have been thinking more about this, and Jim and I were talking about it this morning, I mentioned in our previous video about hotel room meal prep is that I'm going to take everything that is just consumable in terms of plates and dishes and silverware. I don't want to have to wash dishes in a hotel room. And I was thinking that, if the occasion arises where we do need to bring a bowl or some implements or something that would require washing, most of our trips right now are only going to be 2.5 to 3 days. And so I would just take an extra bin and put those dirty dishes in that bin, put the lid on. They can wait until I get home in a day and a half or 2. So that will not be a big deal because I don't want to have to wash dishes in a hotel room. So I think the bottom line is this. We really need to think, and I know most of us do, but everywhere we go, we see people who don't do this. And I'm going to give you an example in just a minute. We need to think about walking in the other person's shoes or the other side of what is going on in our lives to get a perspective from other people's point of view. And then we need to be respectful of that. And the example that I'm going to give is from my young granddaughter-in-law. She and my grandson have 2 small children, aged 3.5 and 1.5. and they're doing their very best. They're young, they're trying to make ends meet, and doing the best they can to save up for better housing. And she is a very, very hard worker. And right now, she's a server at a restaurant. She's going to very soon become a manager. But on Christmas Eve, their place was open, and they did not expect very many people to come, and they were slammed. And there were only 2 servers working for that night, and she was one of them. And she said that a group came in and sat down and stayed for practically half of the night. And they ordered big meals, and then they ordered something else, and then they ordered drinks, and then they ordered more drinks. And she was waiting on them hand and foot. She was out there beck and call and was always very pleasant, very courteous, just did everything that they needed. And at the end of the evening, they paid their bill, and the woman just handed her the receipt and said, "There you go, Merry Christmas." And she just shoved it in her pocket, not looking at it, because they were so slammed. She was just so busy. And at the end of the evening, when she was going through her receipts, their bill had come to well over $500, and her tip, $20. And there she was on Christmas Eve, away from her babies, wishing that she could be at home to help her husband celebrate with the 2 little toddlers. And to be treated like that was just disrespectful. And so we never know another person's story. We never, unless Jim and I have run a couple of small businesses, and it is sometimes very difficult when you're trying to be of service and do the very best that you can, and you're dealing with people who have not a clue what running a small business entails. And they say thoughtless or rude things, or they behave in a way that is very detrimental. And sometimes you just want to pull your hair out. And so I think it is going to be important for us, and we're going to continue to advocate doing hotel room meals, but doing them safely and with respect to the proprietor of that, wherever we're going to be staying. It's just the right thing to do, and so that's what we are going to do. And we'll be sharing with you exactly what we do. One of the things, our little car oven, which just is a soft-sided box about this big, we've shown it before, will only plug into a 12-volt outlet cigarette lighter. And so we'll be traveling with one of our small Bluettis. And so if there's no microwave available, we will be using that little car oven, but we will have our Bluetti there and be plugging into our own power and not using the hotel room circuitry in order to power that little soft-sided warm box. It doesn't get super hot, but it does enough to bring things up to eating temperature. So that's sort of what our plan is. I think Sarah has really done all of us a service in giving the perspective from the side of a hotelier. I think that's important for us to consider. So we are soon starting our road trips for the winter. I'm very, very excited. We will be on the road soon, but we don't ever air the video of a trip until after we have returned again. And several people have warned us about that, and we do that anyway. We don't ever let people know we are away from home when we are away from home. And so soon you will be seeing videos of our travels, and we can't wait. We're very excited. So thanks for being with us, and we'll see you very soon out there on the road.